So, thank you for joining me, Alison. I'm so excited about what's
Oh, I am too. It's great to talk to you.
yeah, yeah. We've already been chatting for a little bit before, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
Any insights coming through? Like,
Yeah, we've covered so many things already. Sorry you guys weren't around, but we had a great time.
some of them weren't for public consumption, so
Yeah. Maybe at a later date.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also just did an oracle card. We drew. Well, I've drawn 3 oracle cards, so we thought we'd use that to kind of guide the discussion through. So our first one, this is Denise Lynn's Sacred Traveller oracle card. So our first one was Wondrous Universe, Walk of Beauty.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean to you?
To me, that's like walking the beauty of who you are.
Mm.
So we talked about making your life easy.
Yes.
Like making your life beautiful. It's like your life, like how you decorate your house, the clothes that you wear, the way that you express yourself is your art. That's you. And you're here with your energy to give something from yourself on this planet. So that walking in beauty it's so multi-layered. It really is. It's walking in grace, knowing that there is a spiritual side to life, that connection to spirit allows you to connect to other people with grace. So there's a softening to that. There's a softness to walking in beauty. There's a love of the feminine.
Yeah.
The feminine way of doing things that attracts rather than chases. That doesn't go into busyness, staying constantly busy and stressed out, but that stays in the beauty of the moment and allows things to come to her. So there's a lot in that card.
Yeah. And we talked about that sense of safety.
Yeah. I was saying then when we were talking that if you don't feel safe, you can't receive. So if you don't feel safe, like your ideas, you're so uncertain about your ideas, and a lot of people don't realize how uncertain they are about their ideas until you challenge them and you have a different viewpoint, and they're desperate to make you think the way they think.
Yes.
And that's a deep, deep insecurity, because it's perfectly okay for them to think one way and for you to think another way. So that's a question of safety as well. Something, you challenging their ideas, rocks their world. So we're seeing so much of this culturally now. We're seeing that with immigration and all these fears about someone's coming in to take your job. Really? I don't think so. So, there's there's a doctor coming in to take the jobs of the doctors who are already leaving the country. So yeah, why not? But you see how people can be so terribly threatened by anything they consider to be other. And then in relationships, you can't connect with people unless you feel safe with them.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't connect with people unless you feel safe with them.
Yeah.
You have an internal guidance system in your body that will tell you if someone isn't safe to be around. There's a great, great book I must recommend called The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker.
Oh, I've heard of that one, yeah.
It is an amazing book because really it's a book. He's a Hollywood security consultant. Right. So he deals with all the celebrities who are stalked and whatever. Oh. And that's his company deals with that. So in the book, I kind of expected it to be very security oriented, but the whole way through it, it's about your intuition. And he starts with this story of a girl who was almost murdered and how she overcame her intuition. So she overrode it. This guy was in her building when she arrived. She didn't know how he got in, but he was really friendly and he wanted to carry up her groceries to her house in the lift. She didn't want him to, but she didn't want to be rude. So she let him. Then he insisted on carrying them in. And then once he got inside the house, he raped her. But then she was so he got her into her bedroom. He opened, when he was done, he said, "I'm not going to hurt you." Then he got up and went outside of the room. But before he did, he closed the window. And as he did, she suddenly realized she really was in danger, that he was going to kill her. So as he went to the kitchen to get a knife, she crept out of her flat and found safety in another place. So the reason I'm telling the story, which is a really horrible story, is he had done it many times before and he had always killed the person. She had overridden her intuition, but what saved her was her intuition.
Yeah.
So your intuition is your safety, but you have to listen to it.
And I think that's one of the things, isn't it? Is that we get conditioned out of our intuition.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know, the authority figures around us.
Yes, and it's cultural. I mean, for example, because I'm writing, my book is about breast cancer. One of the biggest authorities in our lives that we give all of our power over to is a doctor. If a doctor tells you you need to do that, most people will not question it. Most people will not ask for a bigger picture and say, well, actually, as was my case, I had chronic fatigue, so I had a suppressed immune system. How was this treatment going to affect me? Because it was going to affect me in a much more severe way than other people.
Right.
But they're not used to being questioned. We are not used to taking our own power.
Yeah.
And saying, actually, I know what's right for me. Or if you have a bad feeling about a treatment or something you've been invited to do, you override it. You're trying to be polite. You don't want to upset anybody. So you just go along with it. And always afterwards, you go, why did I do that? Because you knew.
Yeah.
But you still overrode it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a big thing in finding safety in really uncertain circumstances is to learn to trust yourself. Trust your own gut. Trust your instinct. Trust your guidance. Because even people who don't think they're intuitive are. Their bodies will tell them.
Yeah.
They will just not be comfortable around someone. They'll have a bad feeling about something. So it's really that coming back to, I trust myself.
Yeah, I trust myself. And I think that's one of the things, isn't it? Like I've heard that about kind of like a relationship breakdown where there's been infidelity, and the question isn't, do I trust that other person? The question is, do I trust myself? Do I trust myself to listen to what I need in this relationship?
And something like that, a breakdown of a relationship where there has been infidelity, throws people into lack of trust with themselves. So not just with other people, they'll go, how did I not see that?
Yeah.
How did I not know that this was the sort of person that I was dealing with?
Yeah.
And that's the most devastating part, is it throws you into lack of trust with yourself, not just other people.
Yeah. Because I know that's one of the things like I'm exploring in my writing in Pieces to Pieces, this idea of kind of like getting so taken into that left brain and that intellect that you buy into people's words. Like, that example of the rapist that you talked about, I'm not going to hurt you. It would be so easy to kind of go into those words and go, oh, okay, you're not going to hurt me.
Yeah, but something in her, she didn't consciously know why she did what she did. It was only when he unpicked it with her afterwards that she said it was the sound of the window closing. That sound made her realize that he didn't want what he was about to do to be heard. So she didn't consciously go, oh, he's going to kill me, so I'm going to run out of the room. She just heard that sound, and something in her just lifted her out of, she just ran. So it can be just on such a minute level, just an inkling And that is usually how intuition works, as we know that it's not a big old shout. It's not, God descending from on high with tablets telling you, lucky for Moses, he got that, but nobody else did.
Oh, that kind of tablet. I was thinking of that medical tablet.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get the big one. You get a little kind of, oh, that doesn't feel quite right. Or I feel like I need to go here. Or maybe I always go this way, but today I'm going to go that way.
Mm.
And that opens you up also. So, we've talked about intuition to stop, to keep things away. But back to walking in beauty, intuition, when it says, just go there, speak to that person, do that, opens up immense possibility. Wonderful things can come if you listen to your intuition. But it's not going to give you every step.
Yeah.
It'll just go, do that.
And it can help with our second card, which was obstacles. You can overcome anything.
Yes.
I love that there's a sword in it.
The sword in the stone, yeah. But it's the sword in the stone.
Yeah. And also, like, in the tarot, where the swords represent, like, the mind.
Yes.
And, like, that changing of your perspective can have such a profound effect, can't it?
It can. But also what I see when I see the sword is the sword in the stone. So it was King Arthur. So nobody else could pull the sword. Only Arthur. So it's like that the empowerment in that picture cannot be released unless the right person grabs the handle of the sword. And that's always you.
And I love that, and I think kind of like this is where I want to get to with like this pieces to piece. It's like you saw what you saw in the card, and it's
yes,
and I saw what I saw, and those perspectives enhance each other.
Absolutely, yes. So you have clarity and you have purpose coming out of that card.
And it's that sense of safety between us, that we know, like, I don't have to defend my views because I know what I believe, and you don't have to defend yours because you know what you believe, and we can complement each other and we can have slight differences and it's all good.
Yes, and all that gives is a bigger picture, like your understanding, that clarity. The clarity of vision that allows you to step up. You want to overcome an obstacle. One of the biggest ones with cancer is the sheer uncertainty of, will it come back? What am I going to have to deal with? Will this test, they call it scanxiety. Every time you go for a scan, is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? So you have to deal with uncertainty on a tremendously permanent level.
Wow.
So the way that you overcome that is with a clarity of mind. You have to be able to go, okay, because you could worry your whole life away.
You could,
thinking, awfulizing, like, oh my God, this could happen, that could happen. And you have to always keep going, okay, right now, right here and now, in this room, I've got a roof over my head, there's food in the fridge, I'm okay. I'm feeling okay. Today, I'm okay. And if that happens, I will deal with it. But I'm not going to waste my life, which has now become all the more precious because I've had cancer. I am not going to waste that time sitting there worrying about it. Yes, of course, you have those moments. Yes, you have times when you're just so distraught by it, but you let the feelings come through you and they flow out, and you get past it and you come back to the here and now, because that's really where you're safe. Out in the future, you're not safe. Not if you have something like cancer, you are not safe.
No.
So you stay here and you live your life moment by moment. And for me, that's the big teaching of something like cancer or any other kind of chronic illness or problem. It's always just come back to here, come back to right here and now. What's going on now? What's in front of me? What can I be grateful for now? What makes me feel safe, makes me feel loved now?
Yeah. Yeah. Apologies for the phone ringing in the background.
That's
what's happening now. Yeah, that, and I think, you know, you hear that in terms of anxiety, don't you? Dealing with anxiety, kind of, you're, and I know, kind of like I've had that where you're like, and you know, there isn't something tangible like a scan or anything, but you're still kind of, your mind's making up all kinds of
stories,
stories about kind of, you know, you're thinking 3 steps ahead. And I know of this with my business as well, and like with the marketing, that you're like triple thinking about what you're writing.
Yes.
In case like someone reacts in this way and someone reacts in this way, and it is a journey to come back to here and now.
Yes. But also, you know, if you give over to the anxiety and you're a writer, you will never have your true voice.
Oh, I love that. If you give over to the anxiety as a writer, you'll never have your true voice.
Because you're just sitting there writing for disapproval. So you're writing, waiting for somebody to disapprove of the thing that you're going to say. So you're going to lose your voice.
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're writing for disapproval, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, you're writing to avoid disapproval.
Yes.
But that is not clarity of voice and intent. That's just people-pleasing.
Yes.
In reality.
Yeah.
You know, your voice, what you have to say, yes, there are certain things that you can't say. You might not want to swear the whole way through your book. So, of course, there are some things you need to do to tone it down, but you need to say what you need to say.
Yeah.
There's that great phrase, publish and be damned. You know, just do it. Say what you need to say. Yeah. And if you're concerned that it's going to upset some people, turn that into a positive. It's like, okay, if some people are not going to get this, how can I put it in such a way that perhaps they would understand it? Maybe I haven't explained the full depth of understanding behind it. But don't go with anxiety. Because anxiety is just a story. That's all it is. It's a story your mind is having a wonderful time making up. And they're never good. They're never good stories. Your mind's not sitting there going, oh, wait until my book sells 1 million copies or whatever. It's going, oh my God, no one's going to like it.
I think that was one of the first things I learned about writing a book, is like every single author has no one's going to read this. Like all of those kind of monkeys, oh my God, no one's going to love it. They're all going to hate it. And it's getting over that and recognizing, okay, thank you, mind, for trying to help me.
And the way over that one for me has always been, it's the service. What are you here to share that's going to help someone else? You can't get out of your own way unless you make it about someone else. So otherwise you can be like, oh, it's not good enough and I don't like this and somebody else won't like it. But if you go, actually, I'm getting this message out here and I'm doing the best I possibly can because I know it can help people. And my insecurities are standing in the way of helping somebody else.
Yeah.
So they have to step aside.
Yeah.
And that's what got me through my book, was always like, I'd be, oh, I don't know if I should say this or whatever. And it's just like, you're there. The whole purpose of it is to help people, to help women navigate possibly one of the most difficult times in their life.
And I think as well, like I really wish I had the book when there are people in my family going through not necessarily the same kind of cancer, but going on that journey. That, because you don't know what to say, do you, if you haven't been through it? And I realized that some of the things I said were intended to be helpful, but actually probably could have been quite disempowering.
Yes. Yeah. It's really, that's why I put the chapter in for family and friends at the end, because it's so important that you understand that once you're going through something like this, you're going to have, it's like a layer of skin has disappeared. You're very raw, you feel very vulnerable, your sense of safety in life has gone, you don't know what's going to happen next, you have this constant uncertainty and anxiety. Remember, cancer has no cure. You can't legally say there's a cure for cancer. You can only say you're in remission. So now you've got something that is never going to go away. And how do you deal with that? And you're making choices and you don't know when you make them if it's going to work or not, because nobody, whatever your choice is, even if you go down the most sort of standard route of chemo and radiation, it doesn't always work for everybody. So there's no guarantees. So you're going through all of that. So you've researched, you've looked at everything, you've made decisions, and you've finally come to a decision that you think that you can live with, that really there's no guarantee about either, but you've come to that place, and then somebody starts banging on about what they think you should do. And that does not feel like support. That feels like an attack. It's like you're saying, I'm going to do this, and then people will go, well, actually, no, because you should be doing this. It's like, no, I'm feeling really vulnerable now. I need support to make my choices in the right way. I do not need you bombarding me with what you think is right for me. And once I've made that choice, and once I'm going down that road, I'm not going to change it. So it's really not helpful for you to come in and say, you should have done this. It's like, don't ever be an I told you so. You know, it's
no. I can imagine.
Yeah, and please, that's the other thing with breast cancer. I cannot tell you how many dinner parties I sat at where people would tell me stories about the friends they had with breast cancer who'd all died. Save those ones for yourself.
Yes.
I understand that you want to share the experience, but while I'm going through it and I'm feeling very vulnerable, don't tell me stories about people who've died from it. Tell me stories about people who've survived. Or just listen. Or don't even mention it. I'm quite happy with you not mentioning it.
Just let me live now. Yeah, and I can imagine it's well intentioned to have a focus to connect. But there's a selfishness about that, isn't there? Not conscious, of course.
It's what happens. Most people cannot sit with pain. They can't sit with their own, so they'll distract themselves, but they certainly cannot sit with somebody else's pain. So they see that you are in pain, you are suffering, and they want to fix it. So what they're trying to do is come up with solutions, when in reality, all you just want is someone to hear you. Someone to listen. That's all you have to do. You don't have to come up with the answers because no one's got them anyway. So just listen. That's the biggest gift.
And going back to the intuition, that's how you hold the space for someone. More with their own.
And if you listened, you would see what they needed. You wouldn't just barge in and go, oh, I'm going to do this for you, or this is what you need, or so it's like, just listen and ask. If somebody wants some help, ask. And that's the other thing we were talking about receiving before. When you have cancer, you have so many appointments to go to, you have so much fatigue to deal with. You have to learn to ask for help. And that can be really hard. So if you're around somebody who's got breast cancer or any other disease, then the best thing you can do is ask how they would like to be helped. So don't go, well, let me know if you need anything, because they're probably not going to ask you. But you could say, how can I help you? Can I pick up the kids from school? Can I take the dog to the vet? Can I buy you some groceries? Can I do this? Can I take you to an appointment? How can I help you?
Mm.
And that really is being truly helpful
And
in a way that that person can receive.
Yeah. And I think that goes beyond cancer as well, doesn't it? That's just kind of
course, yeah.
I mean, it's a powerful lesson, but actually, in anything where we're trying, whether it's like a creative topic with lots of uncertainty, any like depression or anxiety or anything that a human is going through.
Yeah, whatever they're struggling with.
Yeah.
Whatever anyone is struggling with, it is really like, how can I help?
Yeah.
And even if they don't know how you can help them, if you've got a depressed person, make some food for them. You know, while they're, having a rest, clean up the kitchen. Or a young mother who's just completely not coping, just do her dishes for her. These small practical things. Again, you have to be really careful about that, because you can't go to somebody's house and clean it up for them or around them, and then they feel that you're judging them for how their house was. But you can say, look, I know that you're really not feeling well. How about if I just do this? I'm here now. Can I help you with that? It's that sensitivity to what do they actually need as opposed to what you think they need.
Because you can never know unless you actually ask.
No.
And we're so good at assuming instead of...
Yes. And of course, if you love someone, if you're a family member or a partner and you love someone, you just want them to be well. So you want to save their life. You want them to be well. But you will probably think, well, if they do this, they'll get well. And so you try to push your ideas on them. And it comes from this place of actually, yes, they really want you to be well, but they don't understand how stressful it is to have stuff pushed at you all the time when you're feeling very vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it's brought it all into so much clarity. It's kind of things that you hear, you kind of know, but hearing it like that in that context, it's just so much more powerful, isn't it? And it really goes in.
Well, it's really simple. Everything in life is really simple, isn't it? When you get down to underneath it, it's just really simple. Ask, listen.